we get to talk about Tennessee now. Do you want to talk about Tennessee and the terrible things Tennessee is doing? I don't. But we're going to do it anyway, because apparently Tennessee has just passed a bill where if a parent is religiously opposed to LGBTQ people, they're apparently allowed to adopt a kid who is known to be LGBTQ. That's certainly not going to have any problems. That's not going to cause any issues at all in any way, shape, or form. That could not possibly go wrong. But I guess we will be talking about that today. But first, we have to get into the fan art section, and I'm using the term fan art very, very well. The joke writes itself, because apparently this is Slay Queen Suris. And I want to die. And Anubian has made me want to die. Why do you do this, Anubian? I'm going to now cover up the mistakes of the collective internet with more 3D printing. And we're just going to move away from that now. So bye. But I do have to move this back here because this information is like most trans legislation in America. This is coming from Aaron Reed, who does an excellent, a fantabulous job at covering all of this madness when it happens. So, from Aaron Reed, in a horrific move, Tennessee has passed a bill allowing parents who are religiously or morally opposed to LGBTQ+ people to adopt LGBTQ+ kids. This could result in anti-LGBTQ+ foster parents putting LGBTQ+ kids through conversion therapy. I cover the bill here, which protects religious moral beliefs from being considered not in the best interest of the kids. You can read my article in here to subscribe to the work, but here is the part of the bill that she's talking about here. It says in the bill, the chapter is known and may be cited as the Tennessee Foster and Adoptive Parent Protection Act. The Department of Children's Services shall not require a current or prospective adoptive parent to affirm, accept... Huh. Well, that started happening. All right, let's just fix that real quick. Huh. Interesting. It's always on that part. Fucks up a little bit. Yeah, the printer is having a time. Let's just... that. And that. And... Alright, let's try that again. Printer is having a time. It melted one little part of that, and that was it. Yep, 3D printer just went burr. Rogue printer. Anyway, sorry about that, everybody. Printer went rogue. There we go. Why is that line still there? Ah. The printer has become a sentient, shitty AI. Anyway, printer said, fuck you and fuck Tennessee. Yeah, no, talking about Tennessee was enough for the printer to go, nope. All right, now that I'm no longer distracted by my printer deciding that it is time to die, the chapter is known and may be cited as the Tennessee Foster and Adoptive Parent Protection Act. The Department of Children's Services shall not require a current or prospective adoptive foster parent, known as a parent for the rest of the document, to affirm, accept, or support any government policy regarding sexual orientation or gender identity that conflicts with the parent's sincerely held religious or moral beliefs. So they shall not require the parent to affirm or accept the kid in any way. Like, okay, if you're a religious parent who's against the gays, why do you want to adopt a gay kid? Unless it's just to conversion therapy the kid. Like, this is just a way to do the legalized child abuse thing. The department shall not deny a parent's eligibility to foster or adopt based in whole or in part upon the parent's sincerely held religious or moral beliefs regarding sexual orientation or gender identity. No, I feel like if a parent is not okay with their kid being gay or trans, they probably shouldn't be able to adopt in the first place. And I'm willing to die on that hill. My reasoning is, you never know when you have a kid whether or not they are going to be gay, whether or not they are going to identify as the gender that they're assigned at birth. You have no idea if that's going to be the case 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. So if you go in to the adoption system, which is already rife with abuse, if you go into the adoption system going, hey, I'm just gonna grab a kid, and if they come out in a way I don't like, fuck them. That's like saying if a parent is racist against black people, we should specifically allow them to raise a black kid. I feel as though you might not be helping that kid in any way, shape, or form. Says the department shall not establish or enforce a standard, rule, or policy that precludes consideration of a parent for a placement based in whole or in part upon the parent's sincerely held beliefs or moral beliefs regarding sexual orientation or gender identity. Such beliefs do not create a presumption that any particular placement is contrary to the best interests of the child. No, it actually does. If the parent is a bigot and the child ends up in the spectrum of bigotry that the parent has, that's going to have a negative impact on the child. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Boy, howdy, it's almost like I have a bunch of friends who have parents that are willing to abandon them because of their religious beliefs. It's almost as if I am currently dealing with a parent who is going to abandon their kid because their kid won't come to church and get indoctrinated. It's almost as if this is a recurring problem in my fucking life. And I don't get to have my house be an open place forever because of it. Yeah, it's... Again, ask me how I know. Kind of like we might not want a kid to be gay or bi. I don't want my boys to be for safety reasons, but would still accept them if they were. But, like, we should just be constructing a world that is safer for them. Enshin, thank you for the follow. Aaron then notes that the potential for abuse here is dire, which I agree with. Said, furthermore, this could particularly be harmful for LGBTQ plus youth in the foster care system. Studies show that 30% of foster youth are LGBTQ+, and 5% are transgender. Many are there because of family rejection or abuse of their identity. Yeah, again, it's almost as if a group of people who are already disenfranchised should not be thrown into a environment where they will be further disenfranchised. Ha. Raspberry Daz in the chat says, I will never get over the lady I know adopting 2 foster kids and going around and putting one of the kids back into the foster care system because it was too difficult. Jesus. LGBTQ plus youth are more likely to have a history with conversion therapy. Placement with new families that subject them to the same practices could have a disastrous outcome. LGBTQ plus youth subjected to conversion therapy are 2.5 times more likely to do suicide. Aaron Reed then points out that Representative Justin Jones critiqued the bill, stating, I find it interesting that the whole word moral is in the bill, because the bill is immoral. Can you explain the logic of placing a child where they are told their identity is wrong? You know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
This bill...
Let's go ahead and raise the volume up just a little bit. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop.
It's called the Tennessee Foster and Adoptive Parent Protection Act. It doesn't say the Child Protection Act. And nowhere in the script that they prepared for you did you answer the question to say, how can a child be protected and feel validated and flourish in an environment where they may be put in a home that says that because they are LGBTQ+, that they are wrong, that they are mistaken, that they are sinful, whatever language you want to use. I mean, it just it's not logical. And so, did they give you notes on that? Can you explain an example where a child goes into this environment and can flourish? I'm struggling to see that.
Chair Lady Littleton. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill clearly says that they would not go into those homes if they had religious beliefs or moral beliefs, and that's why other states are shutting out foster parents that will not accept those children because of moral beliefs and their religious beliefs. So this is to protect as well as the child, the foster parents, and the adopted parents.
But protect them from what? A kid being gay? Why does a parent need protection from their gay child? What does the parent being gay do anything? Or what does the child being gay change about the relationship with the parent?
Because all of them should have the same. If they refuse, there are a couple of states already will not let them have another child.
They shouldn't, because even if the child that they adopt is, quote, straight, there's no guarantee they will be when they're 13, 14, 15 years old and their body is doing the thing where it goes, hey, bitch, this is what you're attracted to. Yeah, no, that's a perfectly reasonable thing. If a child is if a parent is bigoted towards a potential outcome of their child, then maybe they shouldn't be having the child.
Representative Jones.
I'm reading the legislation, Representative Littleton. It says that the department cannot create policies requiring a current or prospective adoptive or foster parent to affirm, accept, or support any government policy regarding sexual orientation or gender identity that conflicts with the parent's sincerely held religious beliefs. Nothing in this is saying that children will be protected, Representative Littleton. I don't know who wrote this bill. I don't know if you didn't write it, so you don't know what's in the bill. But this bill that I'm reading before me right here says that children can be placed in environments that are hostile to them, that they are not affirmed, that they're not welcome, that they're not treated with dignity because of who they love or how they identify with, and that is immoral. And so this bill is not about the best interests of the young people, of the children, of the teens, whoever's being put into these situations. This is just trying to legislate discrimination and putting our children into hostile environments that we should be ashamed of. And so can you explain a case, an example of a parent who was denied adopting a child here in this state because they did not accept them for being LGBTQ? Can you give us an example in your district or in this state that may merit this legislation, a real-life example of somebody perhaps who reached out to you about this?
You're saying right the opposite. This says that they don't have to accept them.
Yeah, yes, the legislation says they don't have to accept them. Yes, that's what's written there. What does that change about what he said?
Representative Jones.
Thank you. So again, my question was, can you give an example? And we cannot. Because this legislature has done everything they can to bully LGBTQ children and teens, and it is wrong. We are adults here bullying children and putting them in environments where they're not safe. When we leave here, colleagues, we should be ashamed that we're letting these things go through. This is a bill that is a solution in search of a problem. This is a bill about legislating hate. This is a bill about using religion, the white sheet, whatever you want to call it, cloaking it over discrimination, over children. And that is who we should be concerned with protecting every day in this body.
Representative Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move previous question.
Previous question's been called. There's objection. We're on the board.
And she's just not... there's nothing she's got there, but we, of course, know that it eventually passes. I'm curious what the comments are in here.
All those in favor of previous question, vote aye. When
I guess this is how hate and bigotry are codified into law. Yeah, this is how they get codified into law. Protect as well as the child, the foster parents, and adoptive parents. There's only one victim here. You know, as the foster parent, I'm sorry, but if the child comes out as gay, you're not a fucking victim. There are things where a foster parent can be the victim of a child. I will die on that hill too. There are things that a child can do that a foster parent can be a victim of. The child could engage in violence, for instance. That would be a thing where a victim is made who is not the child, right? This is not that. This is a kid being gay. This is a kid being gay. That's it. There's no victim when somebody is gay. There's no victim at all. Your kid is just gay. You're not having to deal with their prospective partners. You're an adoptive foster parent. You are as valid as any other parent, and so you should be subject to the same rules as those parents. And no parent should be disappointed if their kid comes out being gay. I remember there was a person who used to be a friend of mine, a right-winger who was part of my D&D group. And we used to have a lot of conversations about politics and about policy and about the world around us. And I remember having the conversation with him about what would you do if your child turned out to be gay. And his exact words, immediate, no hesitation, were, I would feel like a failure. I would feel like I failed them. And everybody in our D&D group just kind of stopped and stared at him for a sec. We had to try to figure out how. But I can tell you from having that conversation with a real person in the real world that is not an uncommon belief here in the state of Georgia. There are parents that feel that if their child turns out to be gay, which they have no control over, they feel that that means that they have failed their child. I still wonder how things are going to go for those kids, because I'm no longer friends with this person anymore. Feels bad, because I attended his kids' birthday parties. All of us did. We all were there for those. But I am no longer as involved with that family, because none of us are. All of us have been disowned in that particular conversation due to bigotry. So seeing stuff like this hurts, because I've had personal experiences with parents who would agree with the passing of this and would also agree that it's not okay for their kid to be gay. I've gone to work and had a manager who had this belief. And it's hard to challenge your manager on this kind of stuff since they control your job. It's a frustrating scenario. It's a frustrating set of circumstances. But it is more common than you'd think, where a parent has shown that they are not good enough for their kid. And this is one of those. Every single person who voted yes on this bill, I will die on the hill that they are an unfit person to be a parent. Because they are willing to let their bigotry have more of an important influence in their life than the well-being of their kid. Any kid. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And who knows? Maybe this 3D print won't fail this time. I want to hit the end of the record button, but my Stream Deck just turned off again. There we go! Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability that Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Blitzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.